Hey guys, Probo1701 here, and today we're going to talk about part one of a two-part series where I talk about 70s Doctor Who and 80s Doctor Who and which story from each of the remaining seasons I think should get the special edition CGI treatment. Now let's keep in mind that not every box set does get that. Seasons 24 didn't get it, season 26 didn't get it, but most of them do tend to get that one episode that gets the visual upgrades. So 60's Who I'm not going to do just because Hartnell I don't have enough experience with, and Troughton I couldn't really think of the ones that would need it, especially with a lot of his live action footage not surviving. Excuse me. So I'm going to discuss the 70s and the 80s, and this video will be talking about the 70s seasons. So basically John Pertwee and Tom Baker's seasons as the Doctor. And we'll start off with season 7, and I think it should be the Ambassadors of Death. I think this is the one that would benefit the most from enhanced effects. You have all the spaceship effects that could be redone, and especially the effects when the aliens and the astronaut suits are killing people. You know, when they touch them and there's that little flash on the screen. That looks kind of cheesy by today's standards. It kept putting me off the last time I watched the story. So I think the story could greatly benefit from that. Now at the outside, there's a few things in Inferno they could do. Whenever the Doctor teleports, it's just a simple blink and he's gone, blink and he's there. You could actually add some special effects to that. When he travels to the parallel Earth for the first time, you could redo that and make that look a little better. There is some stuff you could do in Inferno if you wanted to do that route. But personally, I think Ambassadors would be the story that really benefits from it, because I don't think Spearhead needs it, and I don't think Silurians needs it. So I'd go Ambassadors. For season 9, I'd say the Time Monster, because Day of the Daleks already has a really good special edition that looks absolutely phenomenal. Don't really need to do anything extra there. Curse of Peladon doesn't need it. The Sea Devils maybe at the outside, because there is some things there you could tweak, like the Sea Devil's weapons could actually have beams come out of them instead of just flash. That'd be pretty cool. So I could see if they did Sea Devils, if they wanted to take kind of a minimalist approach and not have to do a lot of budget-heavy CGI work. I've never seen the mutants, so I can't really say. But the Time Monster, from what I've seen of the Time Monster, I've seen the first episode or two, it strikes me as very effects heavy in certain places, and I think it would benefit the most from it. So I'd give it to the Time Monster, even if it isn't the best story. And season 11, Dinos. Got to be Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I've never seen Invasion of the Dinosaurs, but I always hear that it's a really good story with really bad effects. And I've seen some of the dinosaur effects. They're bad. But I constantly hear that it's such a good story, such a good story, such a good story. It's just one of those cases in Doctor Who where great script, not so great execution. That happens quite a bit in Doctor Who. Power of Kroll is a good example. Great story, terrible execution. So here I think you give it to Invasion of the Dinosaurs. If for some reason that's too budget heavy and they can't do that, I'd say Planet of the Spiders, because you can make the spiders look better. Or also that scene at the end when the Doctor confronts the Great One, they could really touch that up and clean that up and make that look better. So Planet of the Spiders at the outside, but I definitely think Invasion of the Dinosaurs is where the money needs to go on that to make that episode look as good as the story is for it. Moving into Tom Baker, season 13, I think you give it to Terror of the Zygoons, because most of the other stories don't need it. Even the ones that look limited, they look limited in a good way. Like Planet of Evil has some stuff that looks a little maybe outdated, but it looks good. It still looks really good. It actually fits. While looking older, it doesn't actually look outdated in my opinion. Pyramids of Mars doesn't have enough to where I think they need to update it. It's fine, I think, the way it is. Yeah, I'd say Terror of the Zygoons, because the Loch Ness Monster scenes, while I think the model work is okay, I love the fact that the model Loch Ness blinks and has the hands that move. It's not bad, but you could touch it up and make it better. The scenes when the Zygons shapeshift, you could change those and make those look better. So there is some stuff in Terror of the Zygoons, I think, that could be touched up and made to look a little prettier, a little more 21st century maybe. I don't think Brains of Morbius needs it. I don't think Seeds of Doom needs it. So Terror of the Zygons gets my vote. Seasons 15 Well, there's several different ways you could go. I mean, there's one that's an obvious choice. We'll get to that. I think you could do Image of the Fendal, which is a good story, but the ending kind of holds it back for me when the Fendal creature fully transforms and it's, the woman dressed in gold with the painted eyelids with the creature behind her that looks kind of silly, pulls me out of the story. I don't really care for the gold paint, but I especially don't do the painted eyes because they're very obviously painted eyes and it looks really bad. And the creature behind her is not really impressive. So I could see them wanting to update that maybe. Also, you could do Horror of Fang Rock. You could make the Rutan look a little more deadly, or Rastan, Rutan, whatever it's called. You could make it look a little more deadly, plus that shot at the end when the lighthouse shoots that little beam out looks really bad. You could touch that up, make that look a little better, tidy that up some. But honestly, it needs to go to Underworld. Let's be honest, Underworld's what needs it. Underworld is a very underrated story. I actually like the script. I feel like the only reason Underworld has its bad, excuse me, its bad reputation is the bad CSO work. And it does have a lot of bad CSO work. I think the script is really good. I think the spaceship models look really good. I actually enjoy the ship model scenes in it. I really think it's just the CSO looks so bad. If they went back in, and I guess they could redo the model shots if they want for the ships, but it's really that CSO cleanup it needs. Kind of like Terror of the Autons. A lot of Terror of the Autons, the special enhancements they did was cleaning up a lot of the bad CSO work, or the dated CSO work. So that is what I would want, is for Underworld, they clean up the CSO work, they change the background for the caves to look more realistic. If they actually put some time into that, I think it would make Underworld a much better received story, personally. And for season 16, I think the Armageddon Factor, because again, this is a story I think is underrated. I like the Armageddon Factor. And most of the other stuff doesn't need it. Ribos Operation doesn't need it. Pirate Planet doesn't really need it. Stones of Blood, you could do some stuff there, doesn't need it. Androids of Terra doesn't need it. Power of Kroll needs it, but you'd have to have a freaking Avengers Endgame budget to fix that episode. It's so bad. It's a good script. It's Robert Holmes after all, but the execution is just so bad. It would take a miracle to save that. So I think budget-wise, you do Armageddon Factor. It's got a lot of spaceship scenes in it you could touch up. It's got that whole where when the time thing is counting down and it's looping, you can make that look neater. You can make the ship approaching look neater. There's just a lot, since it's set in space and there's a lot of sci-fi stuff going on in it. You could clean up some of the CSO work in it, like when the Doctor and Drax step out of K9 and grow larger, you can make that look better. But it's really the spaceship effects I think you could really touch up. And the blast effects, there's a lot of lasers and stuff going off. And there's a lot of special effects in the Armageddon Factor. And if they have the budget to do it, that would be the one to do, especially since it's the final story of the season too, kind of where everything comes to a head. So yeah, Armageddon Factor. Season 17, a little tricky, because I haven't seen a couple stories from this one. I haven't seen two of those. Nightmare of Eden and Creature from the Pit. But from what I've seen, I'd honestly say the Horns of Nymon needs it the most. I mean, you could do City of Death, and City of Death is a big episode, an important episode, but it wouldn't need a lot. It would need a very minimalist approach, just a few things tweaked. So if they did decide to do something that's not going to be too budget crazy and not going to really break the budget, you could do City of Death and do some tweaks and improvements there. But really, if you're going to go all out and try to fix something, I'd say the Horns of Nymon. Early on when the ship gets lost, there's a lot of heavy special effects space scenes there with the TARDIS connecting to the ship, and then the ship trying to break away and get out of that little spot it's got itself in. I'm trying to remember if that's the one where the TARDIS has to spin itself to bounce off the asteroid to propel itself out, because if that's the case, that effect needs to be redone. There's other effects, like when Saldine uses his wand, you can add some stuff to that. Whenever they teleport from the main area to the maze area, you can do some special... It's very special effects heavy. You can do a close-up of the Nymon base exploding and do that in CG and make it look better. While Horns of Nymon is not a great story, to be honest, especially with the Saldine character just overacting so badly. But I do think it would benefit from some better effects. That would be the one I would pick, unless they wanted to take a minimalist approach to City of Death. So those are my stories from the 70s and the ones I would like to see get the CGI treatment in each box set. How about you? Do you agree with my choices? Do you disagree with my choices? I'm curious to hear the ones you would like to see in each of those seasons get the special effects treatment, the special effects updates. I can't talk today. I'm very tired. Anyway, I'd like to hear what you guys think. I always enjoy interacting with you guys down in the comments below, so tell me what you think. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click that bell for notifications. I've started a Patreon channel. You can find a link to that down in the description below. But most importantly, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.